Good morning, everyone. We are the Group 4.
Today, we are going to present our steps and procedures on how we did how we made our bioplastic. Enjoy! Hello! Before we started our experiment, we first prepared our ingredients, which were water, vinegar, glycerin, and starch. After that, we then put the frying pan on the stove and added the ingredients in. Second is we added 8 tablespoons of water on the pan. And then we added 2 teaspoons of vinegar and 2 teaspoons of glycerin on the pan filled with 8 tablespoons of water. And then after that, we added 2 tablespoons of starch on the mixture and gradually mixed it all. After we have thoroughly mixed the ingredients, we then heated the pan with high heat. And then after we turned on the stove, we gradually mixed it all until it comes to a viscous substance. When it comes to that consistency, we turned off the stove and lifted the pan towards the aluminum foil, and then we poured the substance on it and spreaded it to be dried on the oven. Actually, we had several variations of the bioplastic spread, from thick, thin, and just right. And even though we had several variations, it all resulted to it being failed. And we didn't know why, but we couldn't peel or remove it from the aluminum foil, even though it was dry. So, because due to the high heat and extended time of the mixture of bioplastic on the pan, it has resulted to a very viscous consistency, which was very hard to spread and not so malleable. And then, like we said, after it dried in the oven, there were some spots where thick and thin of the spread of the bioplastic and cannot be peeled from the aluminum foil. So this concludes that overuse of heat, either the stove or the oven, can result to a bioplastic that is very hard, making it not suitable for food packaging and presentation. Even though this was a failed attempt, this was only trial 1. Hey, so since trial 1 didn't work, we did another, so trial 2. Most of the bioplastic spread were on the low heat of the stove, dried in the sun rather than in the oven, and still it is spread on aluminum foil. And unfortunately, most of it resulted to it being failed. One thing that why this failed was because of the drying time. Since it was dried in the sun, we didn't had all day because we still have school. So unfortunately, due to it not being dried properly, it did not work. Though we were happy that we could remove it from the aluminum foil, but unfortunately we couldn't remove it all in one piece. Like, it would rather break off into smaller pieces, not like one sheet of bioplastic. Again, we can still conclude that the overuse of heat, either the stove or the pan, can affect the quality, property, and performance of the bioplastic being made. Along with that, this is advised that it should be dried in the sun. So hello, third time's a charm. Since trial 2 didn't work, here we are again, trial 3, with still the amount of ingredients that we used, but the materials were different. Rather than aluminum foil, we used banana leaf. With still being in low heat of the stove, dried in the sun, but this time we used banana leaf. So For the variation of thick and thin, it resulted to it being failed because of the organic nature of banana leaf. When it is dried in the sun, it also dries out very drastically, which in turn made it deformed and it actually looks gross. But for the just right attempt, it semi worked because for the just right attempt, we heated the banana leaf on top of the stove or the heat of the stove to seal it or to seal the molecules, I think, of the banana leaf so that it would not tear, which resulted to it being deformed but not so as of thick and thin. But still, unfortunately, it all resulted to it being failed because the day we actually made this trial tree, it rained on the afternoon, so it was not dried properly. And the day after that, we had school, so we didn't had enough time, and we already knew that it would not work. So then we concluded that the banana leaf can actually work, but this presents significant challenges due to the organic nature of the leaf, because the sun's heat caused the banana leaf to dry out and deform, consequently deforming the bioplastic as it dried. And again, proper drying time should be advised. Hello again. Here we are now, trial 4. So again, with the same amount of ingredients and the steps, but the materials are different now. Instead of aluminum and banana leaf, we opt for baking paper. And finally, fortunately, we can say that it all worked, from different variations to thick, to thin, and to just right. So finally, trial 4 successfully produced manageable bioplastic for food packaging. The two main key factors that contributed to the success of trial 4 was the baking paper, because baking paper has a waxy surface. So since it has a waxy surface, it is very easy to peel off or remove the bioplastic. And this was actually dried a day and a half or 1.5 days. And when we dried this on the sun or in the sun, it was actually very hot. So very hot sun can contribute or help with the success of our bioplastic. All in all, this highlights the importance of drying time and spreading surface, as prior trials likely failed due to these factors. Low heat and baking paper are beneficial, and sun drying for 1.5 days or a day and a half should be advised, and it is very effective.